This is what he told me. First meeting. Yeah, I spent $120,000 a month between the two offices for marketing budget. Oh, a month? Okay, good. That's very out. That's huge, right? I was like, okay, so what's it doing for you? He's like, I don't know. We're good. We're big. We're growing. We're not growing enough, or we're not enough clients, but I just keep spending it. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Welcome to the CSG Law Firm Podcast, where we talk all things law firm finance, operations, strategies, and feature those who have dared to embrace bold changes in the legal landscape. I'm your host, Chelsea Williams, founder of Core Solutions Group and chief financial architect for law firms since 2017. I get the rare glimpse behind the curtain and into operations, mindset, and money habits that make or break law firms. Since COVID, everything we thought we knew about how a law firm should run, look, and feel have been shattered. And out of that disruption, a new kind of law firm owner has emerged, one who's bold enough to build outside the box. Around here, we spotlight those renegades, owners who blend legal brilliance with real business strategy, who build boldly, think creatively, and know that money isn't just math, it's mindset. We don't shy away from hard truths. We lean in with curiosity, grit, and a little humor. Whether you're scaling, stabilizing, or just trying to stay sane, you'll find stories, strategies, and straight talk to help you run a more profitable, value-driven law firm. So grab your coffee or your case files and let's get into it. Because it's time to ditch the stuffy suits and take control of your cash flow, build something bold, and prioritize protecting profits in your pocket. Welcome back to Law Firm Money Matters. I'm Chelsea Williams, and if you caught part one of my conversation with Philip from Attorney Fuel, first of all, good taste. Second, buckle up because we went even deeper. Last time, we cracked open sales and intake. Today, we're going after the thing that keeps law firm owners up at night: marketing. What's actually working, what's burning your budget alive, and why your offer might be the real problem, not the platform. Here's what I know from working with law firms across the country. Marketing is a moving target, and most people are either chasing the wrong thing or flying blind with no data. Philip is going to cut through the noise. We're talking LSAs, video strategy, meta ads, evergreen webinars, client acquisition costs, and why the offer is everything. If you're a law firm owner trying to figure out where your marketing dollars are actually going and whether they're doing anything, this one's for you. Let's get into it. You know, last time we had such a good conversation around sales and intake. And, you know, how you at Attorney Fuel help law firms with that. And we started talking about, and the reason why we wanted to do a part two is because, like, the marketing piece. And, you know, I work with tons of law firms across the US, and one very common, consistent pain point, I hardly never work with someone and they're like, oh my gosh, we have this thing and it's in marketing and it's worked so well for so long. Marketing is a moving target, and I think it's really eluding a lot of people. So I was really excited to have this conversation with you because we need to know what's working. And if the target is always moving, we need to know how to keep our eye on the target. Philip, give us something.
So here's what the first thing to understand with marketing. One, it's typically your problem is not more leads. It's probably your problem's not enough clients. There's actually, and crazy as it may be, like in California, it's like one for every 198 people, there's an attorney. And then in Florida, it's like one for every 250 or so. I can't remember the exact stats, but it's right around those numbers. And there's still not enough of the consumer-based attorneys to do good work for their clients. There's still a lot of business out there. So I feel like it's not always the amount of leads you're getting, it's the quality and how many of those turn into clients, right? So the first thing that I always tell people is, okay, how many leads did you get last month? And if they're like, I'm shuffling papers if that didn't come through on the mic.
For those that are listening, not watching, there's a lot of paper throwing around happening right now.
If they, I'm like, oh, okay, I got you. You weren't thinking about that. Okay. When they do come up with a number, they're like, okay, then what's your next number you have? Okay. Well, my marketer told me I got this many phone calls. Okay, great. So how many appointments did you have from that lead source? Uh, I can't, I don't know that number, but I do know how many clients we get, and it's not enough, right? And there's this drop off from the phone calls that I'm supposed to be getting to getting people to show up or have a consultation with us or whatever manner, right? So the first thing I always say with marketing, don't, if you're scared of what's going on with marketing, in about 25% of the instances, I'd say just turn it off right now. But 75% of the time, I'd say don't touch it, don't turn it off yet, because whatever's coming out of the spigot, you don't want to be silly and completely squeeze that off. But you have to start tracking. Like, and there's a reason why. When the lead comes in, you got to know where they came from and what they're calling about, and if they're qualified or unqualified, right? And then, did they set an appointment or not? Did they show up or not? Did they say yes to legal services or no? Right? Those are 4 or 5 different data points. Now, we talked about data points before, but the problem is that if your firm's, there's a couple different levels of maturity. If your firm's been around for a long time, you've got a name and you're probably getting some referrals and some brand recognition in your town, right? And so that's hard to track. If you're newer, like, you really kind of have to put the pedal down and do a lot of work with paid or organic or hustling, or really it ends up being you kind of take anybody who reaches out to you because you got to make payroll. And I get it, because that's all about the cash flow, getting the next lead and the client in the door. I don't care who they are. Like estate planning, yes. Divorce with children, yes. Personal injury, sure, I'll try. But whatever you need to do, right? But the problem becomes is those firms, then they hear a neat marketer or a nice reel on Instagram or something. They're like, yes, I've got to get those 30 MVA cases or those 30 divorce cases, or I don't pay. Yeah, I need that, right? Or whatever the latest hook is on the marketing. And then maybe something happens, maybe something doesn't with the amount of leads. Your phone's ringing a lot more, right? I had a firm in Fort Worth. They were the billboard firm. They were, those people, right? Now it's
I
like
just
five
came
or
from
six.
Florida, so like
Oh my gosh. It's like the only reason, like, outdoor media like survives anymore, I guess, right? But this one wasn't personal injury. They were criminal defense, and they were advertising for DUIs. And this was about, probably six years ago. Um, so they were so happy. They went with like 10, 12 package, 14 package. I don't know what they went with. The phones were ringing off the hooks. They ended up like signing only like 4 more clients a month on average, but they were slam busy and they didn't know their numbers. And that's when we started working with them. We put in the data tracking in the intake system so they would then be able to track every lead at the point of intake, where it's coming from, and then what actually it did. Not an impression, not a click, appointment set, show, hired, retained, didn't retain, partially, whatever it may be. We found out they were paying almost $1,800 per client from their billboard campaign for a flat rate DUI.
that they were charging how much for out of that
I
eighteen
think it
hundred
was like
dollar cost?
4,500 or 5,500.
Wow. Yeah. That's a client acquisition cost. That's the KPI. And that
Yeah,
is, yeah.
and that's huge. You got to know by then when you track by lead source, and if they're qualified, not set, show, hire, whatever they do, then at the end of the month, you take all that and you start doing the math. How much did I spend on Google this campaign? Here's how much it costs for me to get somebody to show up for a consult, if that's your process. Here's how much it got for me to get a qualified lead. Here's how much it costs for me to get a qualified lead that's signed. And now I need to make sure everybody who answers the phone in my firm intake that they actually know, right, how much that phone call costs.
Very important.
Yeah, because if they don't, then they're going to treat it like, yeah, right. So here's what the real problem comes with the marketing. The first thing, and I'm talking about tracking, I'm really beating it down, but it's so frustrating. I'll tell you another story real quick. Talking with a firm right now, great firm in Florida, and he's also in Texas. And Yes, he's personal injury because he spends this is what he told me. First meeting. Yeah, I spend $120,000 a month between the two offices for marketing budget. Oh, a month? Okay, good. That's very out. That's huge, right? I was like, okay, so what's it doing for you? He's like, I don't know. We're good. We're big. We're growing. We're not growing enough, or we're not enough clients, but I just keep spending it. I'm like, oh my gosh. Here's what happens, Chelsea. He will have these leads because he's been around. The firm's about 30 years old, 25, 30 years old. He's been around. So he's got these lead sources, and you can get a referral partner. You can get a reputation. You can get, I've had clients that got reputation for workers' comp for New York City sanitation workers or for doctors in Colorado. They get known for that, right? Whatever it may be. You can do that. You now are spending this money on marketing, and then you've got this lead source that's still generating clients and leads for you that's covering up the ugliness of your paid marketing
Hmm.
because you're getting more clients. You don't even know where they're coming from. You get these great lead sources and this hot guard, like just set the money on fire lead source, just burn it up,
Yep.
just get out the Vic lighter, light it up. You have no idea. Think what happens to our clients. We're like, oh, fail on that one fast. Let's just like stop with the billboards. Let's stop with this pay-per-click campaign. LSAs are not working because you're not getting new leads new reviews every week or whatever it may be. Let's turn that off and then reallocate that to other things that are working. Because what worked a year ago may not work this year.
And that's so important. And I want to talk about that. I want to talk about the situations where something isn't working. Like everything we've talked about up to this point is what I refer to as filling the leaks, right? It's retaining
Yep.
more of what's already knocking at your door and optimizing what's already
Yep.
happening before you spend any more to bring any more leads
Oh,
in.
please.
What about the firm who were looking at their marketing efforts and either they don't know what to invest in. Like they don't know what to do. Is it LSAs? Is it, SEO? I keep hearing SEO is not going to be a thing. AI is going to take over. Like how do firms actually find marketing that works to even bring the leads?
Okay, I got to write these down because you brought up a lot of thoughts, and I don't want to I don't want to forget them because I've got some really pointed things. So, let's first start with SEO. I gave a speech 2 years ago at the Life Care Planning Association for Elder Law. I gave that speech mm, 2 years ago, and I said SEO was dead. The experience is completely different. Right? It's complete. Google hates SEO. You got to understand that. They don't make a dollar off it, right? Their ads are still doing well, although they're down about 10%, I think. But SEO, you are so buried. You have so many competitors, unless you're in a niche law, like here in Arizona, there's water rights law, there's fishing, commercial fishing in Washington State, Oregon, and Alaska. Like there's certain things that just, well, you're good with that, right? You know, adoption, different things like that. But for the vast majority, if you're not in the game, you're already being outspent. You're never going to show up. And now people don't even go to Google anymore for that type of information because it spits out, and they had to put their Gemini at the top so it could actually stop losing traffic to Chat GPT for searches, right? And I think Google will probably win that. They just have so many other resources, but I still think they'll be good. There'll be different companies that are good for others. So SEO, if you're a new firm, that's like last on your bingo card. Tell people like, hey, this didn't show up on my bingo card today. Well, that shouldn't. And this is a guy, I started doing SEOs. We actually had a service where we give you one blog a day, 30 days a month. You paid a lot for that back in 2003, and you
Mm-hmm.
showed up. What happens when you get pulled over in LA County? You think those show up anymore? Like, So, okay, LSAs. You need to get your Google profile claimed and you need to get reviews. Now you look at your competitors and what they have for reviews. If you don't have LSAs and Google reviews up yet, Set up your Google profile, please. Connect it all and get some reviews. Ask your vendors, ask old clients, ask your aunt, ask your friends, ask your staff. I don't care. Just feed it with 10 or 15, whatever you can do to get it off the ground. LSAs only work if you're getting in new reviews on a regular basis. Let me repeat that. They'll only work if you're getting reviews on a regular basis. I've seen it time and time again because LSAs used to be a trick. We were having clients get phone calls for like $25, like when they came out. Like not anymore, a couple $100. And so the problem is that a lot of these clients can't spend their budget and they're like, LSAs don't work for me. Google One knows your proximity, it looks at your reviews, and it also knows how quick you answer the phone.
Mm-hmm.
And if you,
Immediately 60% out.
they know this, you'll stop showing up, right? You'll stop showing up. And you should put it on 24/7 and have a call answering service. You can get those calls answered after hours. But if you don't have somebody, if you're not prepared to answer the freaking phone, then LSA is not going to work because that's all speed to lead. You don't have a second chance. You got it. That's it. Why? Because there's 2 to 4 others that they're going to click and dial to on their cell phone while they sit in the parking lot to take care of this. They've been pushing it off, whatever their situation is. So LSAs, if you're paying Google, I would max it out with LSAs first. Now, not every case type or practice area can it work, and many you can't even spend the budget, right? So you need to get smart. You can kind of set it and forget it and watch it. Here's a trick I do with that, Chelsea. So let's say I'm like, hey, I got $2,000 I'm going to spend on LSAs. One, if you're in a big city, it's probably not enough. But 2, I say I'm going to open up my budget to be $2,000 this week. And then Google's like, oh, you want to spend more money with us, do you? Okay, we'll help you spend your money. You'll get those phone calls in that week. And then you determine if you want to continue the rest of the month to hit your budget. Because if you didn't, right? I have people do this all the time. I'm like, put 10,000. Like, no, I got like 1,500. Put 10,000 on your budget and watch it and then turn it off when you get to the number you want to spend. Guess what they see you at? They say they don't, but I swear they do. And then I see clients in the same area with the same practice area, one that's got 400 reviews, another one that's got 25, but the one that's got 25 is getting a couple every month. They start to show up. It's not the number anymore. It's the frequency of them.
Yeah.
Yep. Get frequency. So you should have a Google review process. And probably pay your staff like $50 for every Google review they get your firm. You can do that. That's a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
SEO, LSAs. Let's talk about the next thing that I would say. Your LSAs, like I said, max it out. But if you're not getting good Google reviews, you don't answer your phone, forget about it. They're not complicated to set up. You learn how to do it on your own. Pay-per-click, do never run on your own. Nor any other type of paid marketing. Like LSA is probably your only. So the one thing that's ringing the bell, and this is ringing the bell a lot for immigration firms, it's doing great for family. It's doing really well for estate planners and bankruptcies. And it's getting really good hits on criminal defense. And this is where people are getting clients under a couple $100. Like, who in here would give you a $200 bill to get a new client? You're like, probably everybody. You're like, how many $200 bills can I find? Like, oh, right? I'll even make them say $200 on them if you want. Right? Just don't cash it. With that, it's videos. And it's not AI slop. You know, Tyler Perry a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, he canceled his $900 million expansion in his Atlanta area movie production. Tyler Perry that made all the movies. And he pulled it all back and said no because AI is going to do it. I'm like, oh my gosh, Atlanta just lost a lot of jobs. But he's not wrong. But it's not ready yet. Not for all of it. For some of it, you can. But it's getting really good. But there's a couple different things that work. One, start and stay with Meta. Don't need to go anywhere else. TikTok, man, you better be really entertaining. Like, you got to be entertaining. I don't feel like people are going to TikTok to learn, whereas in Facebook, maybe it's because old people with gray hair like I have, like, tend to go on Facebook. Yep. Right. So maybe it's that. I don't know. But there's a couple different ways. One, Facebook ads, just running 3 different ads with a good call to action. That in the call to action, one thing to note, your offer will always overperform or determine your marketing return. Like, I don't care how much you spend. If your offer sucks, and most law firms' offers suck. Sorry, they do. Right? You think of it, you wrote it. You're an attorney. Like, that's not to not to be disrespectful, to have a little self-awareness, because you're not selling to attorneys, right? So you just poke their pain points, and you usually do 3 different ad sets, and you're poking a specific pain point. Like for us, I'm like, you know, are you sure, law firm owner, that every one of your leads is nurtured and followed up with every time? Nobody says yes. That's a huge pain point. If you're,
Mm-hmm.
working with divorced dads, what's their pain point, right? What are you going to ask them? Um,
So
so
two
those,
questions real
yeah,
quick.
yeah,
Videos.
yeah,
Where should we be posting videos, or is that meta? And then also, what makes for a good offer?
yeah. Offer and where? Okay, so let me tell you real quick about Meta. Um, I'll get to where you should post. Don't let me forget about that, but let me keep on the Meta. Those are really good questions. And I'll talk about budgets too. Um, so there's 2 approaches. One can just be video ads, right? And you have to have retargeting. And you retarget in Meta. So now your people aren't going to normally respond. You're going to get a high response rate, but then you just keep showing up. It's like you're following them with an electronic billboard, right? It's just always following them. They're like, oh my gosh, they're everywhere, right? The other thing that I'd like for those firms like immigration or bankruptcy or estate planning, especially, you need to educate your leads before they're qualified. What you do is you run video view ads in Meta. It's a special that's just to get eyes on it. You're saying, hey, if you're in this situation, if you have a narcissistic spouse and you need to separate from them for your health, here's 3 things that you need to know. And I'm going to teach you these 3 things because I am sick and tired of people in your situation being taken advantage of and just being dragged through the ringers. And then 3 different versions of that, and they all point to this pre-canned webinar, right? So you can do just ads with retargeting, and you have 2 or 3 different retargeting, and your ad manager, the person that's helping you run this, because you're not running this yourself. We can all shake our heads, yes, please, because you'll burn money. They should be looking at those retargeting and see what's working or not in those 3 ads weekly. What's working or not. Dump the ones that aren't. Nobody's smart enough to know their algorithms. What's working? Dump it, replace it. If it's working great, just keep running them. And you'll get a set that eventually is working really good for a while. But you should be looking at it weekly. Absolutely. Um, so that's the ads. The other version is when you have to educate your clients before they become qualified leads. You're running 3 different versions of, here's a pain point, here's 2 things, or here's how I'm going to solve. It's their big pain points. I'm going to give you this free education. And then these take them to a pre-canned, what we call an evergreen webinar that's 6 to 8 minutes long, right? There's some tricky technology that only a couple people are doing that will add value to this. And I'll explain that. But if you have just landing pages in YouTube, you can do this yourself, right? And so that video should instantly start playing. You shouldn't have to fill out information to play it, because right there, if you do that, you only get 10 to 12 people, 10 to 12%. If you just start playing the video, you're much more likely to keep people there. The tech I'm talking about, then about 2 or 3 minutes in after you set up the video, you're like, in this, I'm going to teach you these 3 things. And if you don't understand what these are, boom, boom, and boom. And this is the reason why you need to know these, because this is going to save you X, right? Whatever you fill in the blank for your firm. They could all do it on that, pretty much that template. And then then it pops up and says, hey, if you want to watch the rest of this video, fill in your information. You'll get 60 to 80% that will fill their information in. And then you're not selling to them when you reach out to them, but you don't call them. So then they get your information, so you get information capture. Even if you don't have that, let them watch the video, and at the bottom of it say, if you're in this situation, here's our offer. And if you had an ebook to go along with it, that would be great. And if you didn't, that's okay. A consultation where we'll cover why now, what's at stake, what's your urgency, and what we do to help people like you in your situation. And you may get 2 or 3% that will fill that out, but you got them. You retarget them. When the tech also that I'm referring to will measure when they watch 25%, 50%, 75%, whatever. We say after 50%, that's high intent. We throw all of our marketing retargeting on Meta to that, on those 3 ads that we run that they see us everywhere that rotate. And you're spending $2 or $3 or $4 on the retargeting ads. In total, and they'll see them 50 times. And you may get their information, you may not, but now they're retargeted forever. And if they've watched 50%, they're very interested in you and your approach and what you do. That's how you work the second version of an educational video campaign in Meta. That right there, Chelsea, that's $1 million strategy depending upon the size of your firm. For a firm just starting out, estate planning, stop sitting in front of plate liquors and nursing homes and old folks' places and just go do this.
That is such a thing.
I learned that from an attorney that would run 4, before COVID, 2 lunches and 2 dinners every week all across North Carolina.
Yep. And now it's the webinars.
Yeah, nobody wants. Just do an evergreen one with your best stuff and collapse in 6, 8 minutes and run it and throw ad money behind it. You'll get clients for $100, $150, $200. Trust me. Okay. Where an offer. Yep. So if you're doing any video, it needs to start, and everything needs to go into YouTube, right? I love long form. If you do long form, that's 6 to 10 minutes. That's SEO. It's organic. That's a long haul. Then you can take those out and get your shorts. I also hate people that just create video for shorts. Just do it for ads and do it for nurturing. And it should be in your intake system for people who don't set a consult or don't hire you. You nurture them with those videos. Other than that, stop making all these videos because they're not making you any money. Sorry. It is what it is. Put them on YouTube, though. Every one of them. Start your YouTube channel. Not yours personally, your company's YouTube channel. Because then you start, and then title them good and put a good thumbnail on there. And if you don't know what a good title is and a good thumbnail, go look at what some of your biggest competitors in different cities are doing.
I have, in particular, an estate planning attorney that is actually making money off of YouTube because of videos.
Legal friend, probably 5 or 10 that I know of that I've met that do that. I've been doing it for a while, and it's a lot of time and effort, and it will. I got a criminal defense firm in Washington. He does 2 videos a week for like the past 5 years. Go look him up. Lance Fryrear, offices of Lance Fryrear. We track his numbers with our analytics tool. He gets 2 to 10 clients every month from organic YouTube. I'm like, okay, keep doing it. But he's been in it for a long time. I would not suggest starting to enter that game. By the time you get there, AI will be done and it'll just all be slop anyway. Sorry, don't want to be negative, but
It's about hard truths. That's what we believe in. And on Law Firm Money Matters, we say the hard things. It's what we need to hear.
Yeah. Because this isn't stuff I make up. This is stuff I've learned by failing and tracking a ton of data, right? The offer is everything. The offer is give me a case type or a practice area, Chelsea.
Estate planning.
Estate planning. Okay. Do they have packages?
Yes.
Like a will package, trust package, something like that?
Yep. For single, for married.
Okay, let's talk about for married, right? So if you give me their top two pain points in a married couple looking for an estate plan, what's some of the reasons why? What do you think?
We don't want our assets to get caught up or get lost.
Yep. Tax protection, legacy, high net worth, little net worth, but want high net worth, right? People are going to protect your legacy, right? Your offer is their results. Like, don't sell the destination.
Mm.
Like, American Airlines never shows the TSA pre-check line on their ads. I don't think they do. Like, do they show you where you're taking your shoes off, or you have to sit in front of the airplane and wait because it's on the chart? No. You see Hawaii. You see Tahiti with little huts over the ocean. And you just bought a ticket to Cleveland off that ad. Like, they sold you the death. And I love Cleveland. In fact, one of my favorite attorneys is there. But I'm telling you, it's a little bit different than Tahiti because we're talking in the winter. But they sell the destination. So your offer is the pain you solve.
Makes
Like
sense.
when we coach our intake staff, same way. Like when they answer the phone, they hear the story and they've got like 3 to 4 things they need to uncover about their whys. Like, why now? Why are you filing this now? Like, okay, what's at stake if this goes south? If this goes wrong, what's at stake? What's your urgency level with this? And when you have those conversations, like, why are you filing now? What's at stake with this situation? When you have those, you're going to uncover their whys or those points you would put into your offer, right? And if you're an attorney, you should be recording all your intake calls for internal use, and you can just run through them all through AI and say, what are the people reason? And you know this. Why are they calling you? There's like 10 reasons for every case type, right? I'm being simplistic, but your offer is that. It's not like, hey, we're going to give you a estate plan. Let me ask you this, Chelsea. I don't think you are, but I don't think anybody goes to Home Depot because they're really excited about the new feature on this drill, right? They go to Home Depot and buy a drill because they need a hole. You don't buy the saw on price, or if it's this type of metal or platinum, maybe you do, but you don't. You buy it because you need a shorter board. Your shorter board and your hole in the wall, that's your offer. Like, what's your result? What's your destination? What's your offer? Like when I talk to attorneys, like, you guys aren't growing. You're stuck at the same revenue for the past couple years. You're spending more on marketing. You're told to spend more, and nothing's increasing. Like, and our follow-up's inconsistent, and nobody answers the phone, and nobody knows what to do when they don't set a, like, those are symptoms. And I tell them their goal of, I'm going to show you how you can automate your intake process and run your firm on numbers so you can actually be a CEO and get out of that crap. Because then when you have their numbers, then you delegate it to these people you keep accountable for your marketing vendor or your staff, your intake staff, you, if you're taking the consults, whoever it is. When you have that accountability in the numbers, then you can look on how to improve those numbers. And then when you improve those numbers, you're adding more revenue, and then you hire people, and now you're out of that department and you've delegated it, but you keep numbers on top of it. So you got to track it. And so that's what I tell them. Like, that's what I'm talking to attorneys about. Do you want to be a CEO? Do you want to, what's your retirement plan? Do you want to have something to sell, or you want to die at your desk? Is 60 hours, like, is that your part-time week? Like, what's your goals here? And they all come to me. If they're young, they're like, I need those leads. If they're in their 30s and 40s, a lot of them are burned out. If they're older, they're like, wow, laws changed and I've got nothing, and my clients are drying up. So I sell those different phases to my law firm clients because I know what it's like to go through them. You know what it's like to go through your clients if you're an attorney. That's your offer. Like, I am going to protect you. So for an estate planning, I'm not going to sell the estate plan for $4,000 or $6,000. But what I'm going to do is do a complete financial asset audit, help you protect you from tax liability, different vehicles to get creative, ways to help you compound your growth that will work for the entire economic picture in the future of your company. Like wrap that up into, into their destination, and that's what your offer is on those videos.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So far we've talked about what's working LSAs, but there's a specific set of you need to do this, that, and this and that.
Yep.
And then videos, which you're saying review these weekly, 6 to 8 minutes, post them on YouTube, use Meta. And this conversation is actually like when we had our first episode, and for those of you who haven't heard mine and Philip's first episode, go back a few and listen to it. It was really, really good. But what we're talking about now, there's this similarity in just because something isn't working doesn't mean it won't work. You also have to know and understand how to identify the bottleneck. Like it may not be that the videos aren't working, it may be your offer. How are you creating that video? Right? To
What are you
like you said, like
tracking?
what makes a good offer?
And then everything falls apart when you got a good offer, you're spending this money, and then your intake fumbles. And then
So
you're
it
like, well,
has to
video doesn't
be,
work for me.
we have to look down the line. We have to consider more than just the piece that we're working on. So what else is working? LSAs, videos, is there anything else?
One final thing on videos. I wanted to talk to you about price. I told you about client acquisition costs. You get 100, 200, 250, 175, 300 in big, like Miami, like big areas, right? Um, and your budget to to Facebook could be 1,500 to 2,000 a month, right? You got to let it bake for 30 to 45 days. Don't get cold
Important.
feet.
That's
Yep.
important. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. So, what else is working other than guerrilla marketing, i.e., local neighborhood events out there at the BNI events, right? When you start, you got to do whatever networking group or things you want. Honestly, Chelsea, LSAs, video, a distant third pay per click because of the cost and just the competition. Um, yeah,
For now. And that's, I mean, that kind of plays into
yeah.
my follow-up question.
There's
Those are the
not much
things.
else that's ringing the bell.
Yeah. Yeah. So really good to know. Thank you so much. I have two more questions for you that I want to get into this
Yep.
episode because I feel like we have like five more episodes already. No, I'm just kidding. But so keeping all of this in mind, and like we said, this is what's working right now. 2 years ago, it was different. Hell, 2 weeks ago, it may have been different.
Yeah.
So how do you keep up with what's working next?
I think that was the whole point of our first couple questions. If you track the data, like you future proof your firm, whatever you track, what gets measured gets managed. You future proof, you know when it's coming through, you know when it's not working, and then you can track them like leads, qualified leads, appointment sets, hired, and that's good. But we track like 12 different steps for our clients because then when it breaks down, we know along the entire way what's broken. It's maybe the offer, it's maybe the video, it's maybe intake, it's maybe the follow-up and nurturing isn't good strong enough. Maybe it's a staff issue because they're order takers, not salespeople. So there is only one way to know when it's not working, and that's to track it. And honestly, a lot of clients come up to me with they're like, "Hey, I've got this pay per lead." Usually, I roll my eyes and I'm like, "Okay." Most attorneys I talk with, a lot of scar tissue, Chelsea. They've all gone through all of them, and some have even sponsored my previous company's events. But they're usually not. You're not going to build a firm on that. You can pay some bills, but it's kind of like driving for Uber. Too many hands in that, and it's just not enough qualified. But I do have clients that come up with some really interesting referral partnerships. I have them come up with some really neat niche marketing in their area. I love it. I encourage it because when they're tracking it, that's when you can get creative because you get to fail fast.
I'm glad you brought that up, and I meant to say this before. I obviously I work with a lot of law firms, and
Mhm.
because the landscape of marketing and what's working and what's new and how to show up here and how to do this, and
Yeah.
it's always changing. What I see happen often is that, one bad month of Google messing up or the algorithm changing, and all of the sudden cash is so tight. And we always go back to, well, how can we create, diversify what we're doing in marketing in a way that it's not so reliant on something that's so volatile. And more often than not, we come back to what is perceived as old school bootstrap networking, referrals. I think that it's, especially in a day and age of paid advertising, I don't think that gets enough attention. I don't think that we really recognize how much value there is in that still, and not to just abandon it.
Yeah, it depends upon your firm what your revenue is. Because after you get over $5 million, you should then get a community outreach or a networker or somebody in your firm that's out there building those relationships for you.
Yeah, and even if
Because
it's
your
not you,
time's
it's still
not
happening.
way too
It's
valuable for your time.
absolutely,
But when you're
absolutely.
starting, go take out not competitors, potential referral partners, or people. Just start once a week. Coffee. Nobody goes to coffee. Hey, what's the cool coffee place that you want to check out? I have an attorney. I don't think he does it anymore. He may. I haven't followed him in a while. He was doing his YouTube was food reviews. Oh, this was great of local restaurants in town. Brought like with his law firm shirt on, with his logo on the bottom. He'd do food reviews of other of, and I've seen others then go introduce and use video to talk about other people in the community. But once again, that's organic. But I think going out with these people, because your technology, your intake software should be able to, like with our clients, they're like they've got all these referral partners. Oh, this one goes to Jane Doe because Jane Doe just drop it down and it sends it to the lead and to the attorney and tracks it all. If you do split fees or not, or keep track on a different, keep scoring a different manner than dollars. But I love those things. It's hard to put a dollar amount to it in ROI. But unfortunately, Chelsea, with so much noise, we live in such a noisy society that there's only a couple things that you can actually legitimately write a check for that's going to work. But the
Yeah.
great thing is with video, if you take it from Meta and then you can do it on YouTube as well. And if you do that and you do it right with evergreen, like webinars that are short and sweet, like that's, you can get very creative. But there's not many other platforms right now with any type of consistency I can see that I'd suggest doing. And that's sad. It used to be different. Be like, send out a newsletters are good. They're not, you're going to get one client a month, maybe if you've got a big list, right? Not like it
Yeah.
used to. You need them because you get upsells, repeat clients, and so inexpensive to do it. But there's just a lot of those things that don't work as much anymore.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that leads into my last question for you is, and you alluded to this before, like you should be building your business to sell, to exit profitably. And the way that you sell is you systematize your business because people want to buy business and profits. They don't want to buy a job, right? And so how do we systematize marketing, and especially because we're talking about one of the things that's working is videos, and so for
Yep.
a lot of these this is going to be the owner of the firm
Yeah.
making these videos, so now
Yep.
we've created a brand that is dependent on a person's face.
Yep.
And so how do law firm owners build this marketing funnel and make it systematized and develop it to be handed over to a future potential owner?
Now, I only think 5 or 10% of the firms that are using video, and it's less than 50%. I think it's about 40% of firms are using video. I only think 5 or 10% of them should even think about doing anything organic. Like you have your core videos, you got your about us, your brand video on your web page, like about your services, some testimonials. You got 5 to 10 videos for your homepage. You create those. The owner needs to be there. Do that, right? But they're specific. Um, then your ads, you may be able to need to create 2 or 3 new ones every quarter, and then you find a mix that works, and you keep running that mix until you need another one. If you're doing organic, you're gonna have to do it a lot. right? I don't suggest it. It's not a good ROI to start with. Too late for that. You can try it, but you better multi-purpose it and use it in multiple places if you're doing organic video. Like cut it up into shorts and reels and schedule it out. Then it can be beneficial, but that's the long play. Um, you know, there's no way to really systematize marketing other than saying, hey, I'm going to go with video and I'm going to keep moving it to the platforms until the data tells me differently. And if I'm doing this, if I'm paying for it, then I don't need to create a lot of content. Do not use HeyGen right now and then go create your video and have an avatar and it's AI and it looks almost but not. Don't waste your money. Not yet. Those are okay for retargeting, but they're not going to be the good video view ads that bring people to your firm.
Yeah.
They won't be.
So, I mean, what I'm hearing is you can't systematize marketing mechanically. I mean, you can schedule it and you have a flywheel.
Oh yeah, like we
But
have a social media scheduler built into Attorney Field. Like they could do
yeah,
that in our platform, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, all that. But is it going to give you an ROI if you haven't done it before?
yeah, yeah. And in terms of systematizing the unpredictable or systematizing what we don't know now that may come up next month, it's really about creating a system for always looking for the new things, educating yourself with the new things, or working with, someone like a chief marketing officer or somebody who's always keeping their eye out for what's the next thing, what's going to work next, but also recognizing what do you currently have for assets? Because if, like you said, if you've been in the SEO game forever, that's huge. That
It
matters,
is.
right? If you're already established somewhere where it's much harder for a brand new law firm to create a space, that's an asset.
Yeah, no, 100% agree. And I wouldn't necessarily say looking for the next thing that's going to work. What I would say it's the offer. It's all about your offer, and you need to keep refining your offer, keep hammering on your keep when you think it's great, go ask somebody else and look at the numbers every week. Then you start to refine that offer, and then look, you get a new set of people every month in your community that need these services over and over and over again. Oh, this platform's not working. How do we know that? Well, we're tracking everything. Then at that point, just move platforms. If another platform pops up or something else is working,
Follow the
why?
platform. Yeah.
Because you're like, don't worry about the shiny nickel until your numbers are terrible. Because if you're going to do this, there's so many fundamental things you can do before you need to get to shiny nickels.
True. That's a good point. We don't need to
Like,
be
don't worry
just
about
doing everything. We need to focus on what's actually working for us first.
and go to LSAs, then look how you can create a video campaign and run it. And I would highly suggest working with somebody to help you do that. Because if not, you will then email us 2 months later and say video doesn't work for me because you've never run a campaign before. Just like the first time you took on a jury trial, I bet you were great at that the first time you did it. Maybe. You probably weren't the one leading that, but I don't know. I'm not one to judge here. I'll leave that to the jury. But you get judged, and that's how much money you burn and not get an ROI. And then you're like, marketing doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
Just track it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Look, I'm a numbers data person. So just like the
Mm-hmm.
last conversation, everything we're talking about can be measured. And, as you said, what gets measured, we can manage it once we're doing
It
that. So,
happens. Like your intake staff knows how much a phone call costs. Guess who's going to be answering the phone quicker if they want to do a good job? Most
yep.
people, right?
Yeah, numbers move people. It makes things very, very clear. It takes the emotion out of decision. It makes it really easy to make a decision using facts and data and logic because, this is a very emotional game we play, owning a
Yeah.
business and being
And
involved
if
in
you don't
everything that we
answer,
do.
yeah. And just to expand on that, if you're the owner and you don't know how much a phone call costs, when that phone rings and you know it's $148 bill, like
Take it
why aren't you
serious. Yeah.
running towards the phone with your hair on fire?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And
Oh,
still,
hold on, I
Clear
gotta
Trends report highlights how terrible firms are at answering calls.
right. Yeah, you're like, hold
Easy
on, no,
win.
I got to go approve this paper order first.
Yes.
We need some new paper, new pens.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, this has been an amazing conversation. I really appreciate you letting me reel you in for a part two. And I mean, I'm excited at what's to come.
I'm really excited. I love talking about this stuff. I know a lot of it doesn't do with exactly what we do at Attorney Fuel, but that's not the reason I'm here. The reason I'm here is, guess what? I'm going to play it with you. I am sick and tired of attorneys getting abused because I've been dealing with the abuse victims, and luckily, most of them sign up and work with us pretty well. Not everything works for everybody, but I'm really tired of attorneys, business owners, the ones, my favorites, the people that sign the front of the checks. I like them to actually get a return on what they're doing. And man, they're not scared of hard work. They just need to work smart.
Yes. Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. I agree.
This is fun.
All right, that's a wrap on part 2 with Philip from Attorney Fuel. And honestly, we could do 5 more episodes, but here's what I want you to walk away with. Marketing is not the problem. Tracking is. You cannot manage what you don't measure. You can't fix a leak that you can't find, and you cannot build a firm worth owning or worth selling if you're throwing money at platforms and hoping something sticks. Know your numbers, know your offer, know what a phone call costs, and then treat every single lead like the dollar amount it actually is. If this episode hit for you, share it with a law firm owner who needs to hear it. And if you haven't listened to part 1 with Philip, go back. It's just as good, I promise. I'm Chelsea Williams. This is Law Firm Money Matters, because revenue is just a number. Profit is the point. See you next time. Thanks for tuning in to the CSG Law Firm Podcast. If today's conversation sparks something for you, an idea, a challenge, or even a little discomfort, that's exactly the point. We're here to rethink the way law firm owners approach money, leadership, and growth. If you're ready to dive deeper, connect with me and my team and learn more about Core Solutions Group and what we do, head on over to our website in the show notes, doorcoresolution.com. Because sometimes all it takes is a fresh perspective and the right people in your corner. Until next time, keep building with intention, lead with clarity, and remember, the numbers tell the story, but you get to write the next chapter.